Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Listen up if you want to promote your personal growth and self-awareness. I found the Foojan app last month and I have been absolutely loving it. I personally have never learned guided meditation, but thanks to this app, I now have learned incredible tools for my own stress relief and emotional self-awareness. Not to mention, there are self-evaluation tools and professional coaching available to utilize however your journey to self-discovery takes you. Join Foojan today and redefine your life one step at a time.
Do you wish to wake up one day and hit the Life Reset button? Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want by Dr. Foojan Zeine, helps you navigate crucial life areas, heal the past traumas, and cultivate fulfilling relationships and careers. Life Reset is your guide to a profound journey to reshape your life. Grab your copy on Amazon or Audible now and embark on a path to a more joyous and fulfilled life. Welcome to the Inner Voice, a Heartfelt Chat podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Foojan Zeine, a psychotherapist and author and the creator of the Awareness Integration Theory. So thrilled to have you join us today and for what I promise you to be truly an insightful discussion. In this episode, I chat with Michael Gelb. He's a pioneer in the field of creative thinking, executive coaching, and innovative leadership. He's a 5th degree black belt in Aikido and a gifted teacher of Tai Chi and Alexander technique. He's also a professional juggler. Who knew? Who performed with the Rolling Stones. He's the author of 17 books, including the international bestseller, How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci, which has been translated into 25 languages and sold more than 1 million copies. Today, though, we will be talking about his latest book that he's actually co-authored with Bruce Furtman, who brings 60 years of study as a movement artist and an educator to his work, having trained in gymnastics, modern dance, ballet, contact improvisation, the Alexander technique, Tai Chi, Aikido, Argentino Tango, and Kyoto. Now, the new book is called Walking Well. And you could find it in walkingwell.com. We talked about why walking, the essence of walking, how you can be intentional in walking, how it supports you, how it can be transformational instead of just, taking you from one place to another. It's amazing to listen. I really learned a lot. It gives you a little bit of a pointers too in how to do your walking in an amazing way. So be sure to subscribe to this podcast, my YouTube channel, and connect with me through my website, foojanzeine.com, or any of my social media. Remember, go to Foojan app and experience 32 areas of your life and how you can transform them to regulate your emotion, let go of your past obstacle. And we have Mira, which is an AI chatbot with it, which only goes through the awareness integration and answers you your personal questions. So just go to Foojan app. You can get it in Google or Apple stores. All right. Now share your thoughts with me. I'd love to hear from you. I promise you, I'd love to hear from you. I'll take your suggestions, topics you want to talk about, answer the questions you have. All right. And without further ado, here's Michael Gelb.
Eliminate stress, reduce anxiety, and decrease depression. Dr. Foojan Zeine's Awareness Integration Theory has helped thousands like you get incredible life-changing results. The Foojan app gives you her evidence-based treatment in the palm of your hand. Download today.
Intentional Parenting, a practical guide to awareness integration theory, written by Dr. Jafari, Dr. Foojan Zeine, and Dr. Manoukian, 3 experts in human development, is your step-by-step guide to raising a healthy child prepared for a culturally integrated world. You're supported in parenting infants to adolescents using the latest evidence-based scientific research on parenting. Order your copy on Amazon now. It is so nice to have you with me on the show. Everyone, Mr. Michael Gelb, welcome.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you.
Well, we're going to talk about walking today and the the concepts of walking. Why is it important? I think everybody in the back of their head, they kind of know why it's important. But I think that the way you bring it and land it in your wonderful book, Walking Well, a new approach for comfort, vitality, and inspiration in every step, which you wrote with your co-author, Bruce Fredman. You kind of look into walking not only from what you call like a transportational vehicle, but more into a transformational perspective. So, first and foremost, why walking? How come you got interested in walking?
Well, it's the quintessentially human activity. It's kind of amazing to think that up until about 120 years ago, people got where they were going mostly by walking. That was, for most of human history, walking was how you got where you were going. And we kind of take for granted the fact that we have cars and airplanes and buses and trains, but that's really relatively recent. So walking is a huge part of what it means to be human. And since so many people are sedentary, stuck in front of a computer, not to mention if you get injured or traumatized in some way, which almost everybody is in the world, it's quite extraordinary how just coming back to this essential human activity can create literally as well as figuratively more balance in your life, more of a sense of presence, more ease and comfort in all of your movement, and of course with yourself, more energy. And it turns out that going for a walk is not just one of the best ways to manage our stress and improve our fitness. It's one of the most time-honored methods for generating inspirational ideas. The classic phrase, salvator ambulando, solve it while walking. So we have the last section of the book, one of the chapters, which was really fun to write. It's about how walking has inspired so many of the great geniuses throughout history. And one of the points we make there is that a book about geniuses who don't love to walk would be a very small book.
That's true. Well, you talk about walk. You say it's when you talk about walking, you say the W stands for weight regulation, arterial flexibility. The L is longevity. The K is kidney health. The I is immunity, and then you go to neuroplasticity, and then the gut health. So, could you share with us any of those and how going through the walking? How come it handles all of those?
Sure. Well, there's just overwhelming research, and people, there was an article just the other day, everybody sent it to me in the Wall Street Journal, and a little while ago there was a feature story in the New York Times, and there was a headline in Prevention magazine that says walking is the secret to weight loss. So when I said to you walking is the quintessential human activity, I'm not the only one who's figured that out, and scientists from many different disciplines are all studying the benefits of walking. And it would have been a disservice not to touch on that in our book. So I like to create acronyms because it makes it easier for people to remember. So walking is a very convenient acronym to remember some of those benefits. And one of the ones that's most appealing is the W, weight regulation. It's not just weight loss, it's weight regulation. And there's so much evidence that walking is just one of the absolute best things you can do. Get away from the idea of thinking about burning calories, because you might burn more calories if you did high intensity training. But if you make it a positive habit to walk, especially, by the way, what the research shows, first thing in the morning before breakfast and after dinner at night, if you make this just part of your life to go for a stroll. And if you can do it in some natural environment, so much the better. What you do is you make your metabolism healthier. And that becomes a resting phenomenon. So it's regulating your weight for the rest of the day. And then again, get up out of your desk after I get up every 20, 30 minutes. I'll try to stay seated for our whole conversation.
you.
But here's the thing. A lot of people don't walk because if they have been injured or traumatized in some way, or they're just spending a lot of time sitting, walking doesn't feel that good. It's not that comfortable. It's not that easy. So literally right here where I am is where I worked on this book, with a big picture window just here, watching my neighbors who are trying to get their 10,000 steps. They're trying to get exercise. And what you see is they're pounding the pavement. They're shuffling, they're plodding, they're schlepping. So this past summer, I had a great opportunity to teach a weekend seminar on walking well at the world-renowned Omega Institute. And I got to tell you, it was even better than I thought it would be. Because I've experienced the benefits of this, and I've taught this to people one-on-one in small groups, but this was a full weekend. And a woman at the end of the class had tears in her eyes, and she came up and she was thanking me and she said, "What's going on?" She said, "Well, I've been in pain for years. My legs always hurt me." She said, "But I'm always out there exercising. I try to get my 10,000 steps to stay fit and regulate my weight. And, everybody knows the benefits." She said, "But my legs always hurt." She said, "But what you showed me was how to be more comfortable, how to stop pounding the pavement." If you do a search on how to walk, you'll get a zillion references that say the heel should strike the ground and then the toe. And when people think of striking the ground, what a violent, horrible image. So we shared with her, don't strike the ground. Let Mother Earth support you in every step. Embrace the earth with the soles of your feet with every step. Thich Nhat Hanh, the great teacher, said, walk as though you're kissing the earth with every step. And what we teach is, yes, and make that a big, slow, loving, juicy kiss, not just a little peck, but a nice. So when you change, it's simple, but it's a profound change. Anyway, this woman said, I started walking the way you were teaching in the seminar in the book. And she said, and I realized I had to apologize to my feet for striking the earth all these years. And when I did, she said they released, my legs released, and I felt pleasure. I felt pleasure when I was walking. And she was so moved from the pleasure, she was crying from joy. So
beautiful.
So
Going to meditation, which was 20 minutes of sitting, 20 minutes of walking, again, 3 to 4 times of the. And I remember as I sat, my whole body was in pain and I couldn't sit in my body. And, even the monk, he kept looking at me like, shh, because I was moving. And then when we started walking, the 20 minutes of walking were the most amazing meditation, and the connection with my body, with the sole of the feet going into the earth, and this experience of me being with the surrounding in a whole different way. And I think that was the first time I experienced walking from the transformational experience you're sharing with, instead of just the transportation of, you're right, I got to get somewhere, then I'm not experiencing my walking. I'm just experiencing where I got to go. And I get that when you were talking about the natural concept of how to walk and how to change the perspective, it's a whole different paradigm where it's me joining the earth, me having a loving relationship with the earth versus I'm just doing this in order to lose calorie, or I'm just doing this in order to do something else, versus allowing the walking to be its own experience.
Well stated, yes. And chapter 4 of the book, we actually guide our readers to discover more comfort and ease in sitting, in standing, and in lying down. Because if you take sitting, standing, lying down, and walking, that's pretty much all we as humans do. We do those 4 things and we transition in between them. If you think about your day, you're either sitting, you're standing, you're lying down, or you're walking, or you're going from sitting to standing, or standing to lying down, or sitting to walking.
Well, you also
So,
share about how to receive energy the moment you expend it while you do these 4 types of
yes,
activity. Can you share a little bit about this concept of receiving while you extend it?
yes. Well, the key to that, so one of the other things that's different about our book is we don't teach you a lot of new things to do. We teach you how to become aware of what you're doing that's making you tense, and then we guide you to stop doing that. So it's awareness and letting go of the unnecessary is the key to receiving energy. So everybody, people want, give me an exercise, show me something I can do. No, stop doing what you're doing. Stop holding your breath with every step you take. Stop tightening your neck and your ankles. Stop freezing your pelvis, and you will be amazed. Now, we don't just say it like that. We guide you step by step, very gently, to discover all of this.
You just said it, and I was noticing how I was holding my neck. And it's like, let it go, let it go. You're right. The minute the awareness shows up, it's like our body talks to us. So it's more like, am I listening? Am I listening in an appropriate way so that our body talks? And it will tell you what it needs as long as I listen.
So wise. That's the essence of it. It will. It's the intelligence. So we all know it was Frames of Mind. Howard Gardner published this brilliant book that brought to the attention of the general public the notion that there's different kind of intelligence. We all grew up with thinking, well, there's mathematical intelligence and there's verbal intelligence, but there's also musical intelligence, and there's mechanical intelligence, athletic intelligence. There's spiritual intelligence. There's emotional intelligence. And it turns out that there's kinesthetic intelligence and proprioceptive intelligence, the knowing, the feeling of our body, our sense of weight, position, and movement. And there's also interoceptive intelligence, which everybody knows about, but doesn't know how to really develop. So interoception is your gut feeling. People say, I knew it in my gut. I followed my heart. My blood whispered to me. My bones spoke to me. But of course, your gut, your heart, your bones, and your blood don't send you text messages or voicemails. So how do you learn to listen to those and really get your inner wisdom? Walking well, walking the way Bruce and I will guide you to walk when you go through this book, step by step, and actually do the awareness practices. And the good news is they're easy and they're fun, and you get results right away. I mean, you'll feel better right away. That's the reason I was inspired to partner with Bruce to write this book. Is I was coming out to Santa Fe. He lives in New Mexico a year and a half ago, and he said, I want to share with you my insights into walking. And I knew him to be a movement genius. He's a brilliant guy, a former professional modern dancer, Alexander technique teacher, Tai Chi teacher. But he told me he's been concentrating all that he's learned in his whole life about movement into walking. And he said something really intriguing. Near where he lives, there's a 4.5-mile slope up. It's one of the places where Georgia O'Keeffe used to go to get her inspiration. And he's been walking this for 34 years. He moved there when he was 40 and now he's 74. And he told me, he said, I walk faster and with less effort up that 4.5 miles now than I did 40 years ago. He said, would you like me to share with you what I've learned that makes that possible? So he had me intrigued, but I was still skeptical. But then he showed me. It took about 45 minutes. It takes about 45 minutes to really get it. That's how long it takes to do the exercises we give you in chapter 1. But I got it and I said, oh my God, that's amazing. And I was completely inspired. So we could change the world. Millions of people think of walking as their main activity, their main exercise. What if we could help them make every step a little bit easier, get a little more energy from every step? It could really change the world. So that was the beginning of the book.
Absolutely. Everyone, Walking Well, a new approach for comfort, vitality, and inspiration in every step by Michael Gelb and Bruce Furtman. I know that most of the latest research that I read about dementia and Alzheimer's and any of these neurodegenerative diseases, the most and foremost concept is movement. Walking is, and people say just go ahead and exercise, but every one of them is walk is one of the best things you could do if you're going to do an hour of walk. Same way you said, early in the morning or after dinner. So it's definitely brings vitality, definitely brings the neuroplasticity, and it definitely brings like what you shared about the introspection of who you are and in the different realms of life. How we could get emotionally stuck in different concepts. I'm a therapist. I've been a psychotherapist for 30 years. And one of the first things when it comes to emotional regulation, when somebody says, I'm angry, I'm enraged, I can't really, take care of myself, I say, walk. The first thing is, get out of the space where you are and just walk around the block. When people say, I have anxiety, I'm having panic attack, walking is one of those conversations that I've always had with my clients to just regulate their emotion. I've even had people say sadness. I'm like, cry and walk. You could just walk and cry and then, find a tree and then connect with the nature of your own nature in a sense. So as you said, this is something we all have. And how to bring that into awareness of ourselves. You talk in your book about how to bring this in a simple and a fun term. So you share about how to glide in your stride. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, so I had a total hip replacement. And then 2 years after that, I had a total knee replacement. And a little over a year ago, I had a total shoulder replacement. Okay, so I've been very athletic my whole life, a lot of martial arts, had all these injuries, had to get new parts. But I'll tell you, I walk everywhere. I have more glide in my stride. I have more pep in my step, and I have more soul in my stroll because I'm always applying all these disciplines I've learned. The Alexander technique. I teach Tai Chi. I teach Qigong. I teach Aikido. And what Bruce and I did together is synthesize all of that knowledge into this simple activity. And that was the other reason I was so inspired to collaborate with him to write this book, because I said, oh my God, take everything I've been studying and practicing and using to heal myself. And as you say, not just physically, but for emotional regulation, for whatever ails you, whatever troubles you, get outside and go for a walk. You will probably feel better. You will think better. It's the most natural, organic way to heal yourself. And look, it'll benefit you even if I just say go for a walk, walk more, you'll do fine without reading our book. But what if you could get more out of every step. Well, you can. So then you're going to, once you get this notion of what it is to let go of. And I got to tell you, I mean, every step I have taken since my first experience with Bruce has been transformed. And it's not just going for a walk. Like, I walked from my kitchen here to my computer for our conversation. And when we're done, I'm going to walk over to my car and I'm going to go drive somewhere. And then I'm going to get out and I'm going to walk to the office where I'm going to meet these people. And every one of those steps is going to be pleasurable because of what is in this book.
So something I'm also hearing from your conversation is having an intentional way of being with every movement. And when you are at the presence of it and you're intentional about it, then you experience it. And the experience, then it's not about, let me say it another way. A lot of times when there's an experience in our body that might appear as unpleasant, we try to avoid it. And the step of avoiding it by itself, it creates a lot of stress.
Yes.
So what you're also sharing in your book is by being aware of it and not avoiding it, not pushing it aside, you don't create the stress. You're welcoming whatever experience is. And the welcoming of the experience allows you to kind of move with it. And that movement then becomes pleasurable instead of painful, because one, it could give you a message. Two, it could just the experience itself can be pleasurable. And that because you're connecting with yourself, that connection becomes then intentional. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Beautifully stated. Thank you so much. So I have a client who's a CEO and he's taking a sabbatical, and he went to the pilgrimage in Santiago de Compostela in Spain.
Yes.
And as he was going to the airport, he actually called me from the airport. He said, I'm going to be walking 20 miles a day. He said, I ordered your book, but it hasn't come yet. Can you help me? And I gave him, I helped him the best I could on the phone. But what's great about people go on these pilgrimages, and when you go on a spiritual pilgrimage, you set this clear intention. And then you're in this beautiful setting, this spiritual place. And I also know lots of people who are into the psychedelic renaissance and theogenics, and what the main message for preparing for that kind of journey is set and setting. So what will determine your experience, whatever you're doing, is your intention, and preferably you'll create a nice setting. So the wisdom of set and setting, whether you're going on an entheogenic journey or to a sacred site, is the wisdom of everyday life and the wisdom of every step you take. So what if, without entheogenics and without a pilgrimage to a sacred site, what if when you walk to your kitchen or your car or around the block, what if you set the intention to connect with the earth, to feel supported, to be breathed, to be inwardly free, to bless, to accept all your struggles and your everything, and hold yourself with love and compassion,
That's
just
what
as you would hold someone else. So
that's what you mean by unveil soul in every stroll. It's
that is what I mean. Exactly right.
it's that intentionality of
Yes.
opening up and being and full on acceptance, because there's no resistance. There's this acceptance. There's a embrace.
And somehow, I don't know what it is about, there's a natural rhythm of walking. It's right, left, right, left, right, left, or left, right, left, right, left, right. So I've been teaching Aikido and Tai Chi and Qigong for years. And the whole philosophy of Taoism is all about the integration of the yin and the yang. And Jung talks about the integration of the anima and the animus, the sacred marriage. One of the big secrets of life is this harmony of the masculine, the feminine, the yin and the yang, the sun and the moon. And it all sounds very mystical, but it's literally in every step we take. It's literally right there. So what if you just tune into the fact that, oh, what if I allow myself to feel the connection of the earth through the left and the right side, through my whole body? What if I allow the left and the right side to move together in rhythmic harmony with every step I take? What if all my internal organs are being gently massaged by the natural motion of walking? What if I let go of any unnecessary tension in my hips or my shoulders or my ankles, and I felt just a little more swoosh, swoosh and ease in every step that I took? And that opened up my breathing, and I got more oxygenated with every step, knowing that my brain is 2.5% of my body's weight, and it uses 20 to 25% of my body's oxygen. Maybe that's why I'm getting smarter and my memory's improving as I get older, instead of what's happening to a lot of other people who are just sitting there not getting enough oxygen to their brain.
Definitely. And you talk about what the four dignities and the role play, the role that the dignities play in walking. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So the four dignities is a name that comes from many different traditions. Some traditions call them the four awesome presences, which is kind of cool. But they're very simply this notion that sitting, standing, lying down, and walking are what we do. So instead of schlumping or stiffening or collapsing or schlepping, what if we brought our natural dignity to what we do? Because there is a natural dignity and grace that's built in to our amazing structure. It's built into your skeleton. It's built in to your being. And what if we let that operate in its natural, dignified way? You know, when we see Aboriginal people, if we're lucky enough to meet people who, very rare to meet anybody these days who's in an unsullied environment. But we see these people have a natural dignity because they're so connected with nature. They're naturally upright. They naturally feel connected. They're naturally free in their movement. That is your birthright. That is my birthright. That is everyone's birthright. So the good news is you don't have to manufacture this from nothing. You were born with it. But our crazy world, stress, tension, driving, the speed of things, too much sitting, too much online time, corrupts all that. We lose touch with it. But the good news is it's still there. And we just peel away some of the layers and you feel it. And then there's just a little more ease and grace and dignity in everything you do.
And when you share about the grace and dignity, is more about if your body is holding or got used to holding by compensating for pain or compensating for your daily activity, the way it puts pressure on you, is noticing that the way that the pressure is put, and then finding your own the natural essence of the way that your body's meant to be, and starting to listen to it and bring that out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and we'll take it even further. So I do executive coaching, and a while ago I was doing a coaching session. There were two coaches, the CEO who was my client, the executive chairman of the company who was the client of the other coach, and then some of the board members and investors, and it was very tense. And the CEO, who was my client, was on the firing line of this pressure from everybody. So this was a Zoom coaching session. And my client was feeling intimidated and pressured. And he was starting to, his body language started to go like this, and he was fidgeting. So I sent him a private message on the chat in the Zoom, and I said, a line around the central axis and put your hands on the table, palm up, and smile. And what was fascinating is when he went from, this to this, they all responded to him differently immediately. So when we talk about your natural dignity, it's not just some theoretical woo-woo concept. This will affect the way you interact with people, the way they treat you. I had a client, a colleague rather, I used to work with many years ago. And we used to do these big seminars together. And she would always get up there and she would say, "We teach people how to treat us. We teach people how to treat us." And one of the ways you teach people how to treat you is by how you sit, how you stand, how you walk into the room. So why not do that with a little more effortless ease?
I got to share this with you. It just happened this past week. I was lecturing in University of New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for mentoring and coaching conference. And, I developed a psychology model, which we're presenting. And it was funny because I was walking with two of my colleagues toward the reception area. And this lady who was sitting there, she said, "Stop. I have to take a video of this." And we're like, "What happened?" She goes, "The three of you are walking so powerfully that it is amazing. I got to take a video of this powerful walk." So we said, okay, we start laughing and, and then we start talking. No talking. I just want to get this essence of powerful walking. So she took a video of us and gave it to us. And then we went from Albuquerque to Santa Fe. And again, two of us were walking on the street, and this gentleman who owned a shop, the minute we got in front of the shop, he says, hold on. Where are you guys from? Where are you? What are you doing? And we're like, "Mom, I don't know. I mean, we're from California, da, 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 da." And we said, "What's going on?" He says, "You guys were walking, and I've never seen two women walk like you own the world, and you walk with such a power." And as you were talking, I'm like, wow, yes.
Yeah.
And such a feedback when you just said that is like the world responds to you in such a different way. And this was the first time that I was receiving this type of feedback. There were times that I would be lecturing and people will come in and say, "You seem like such a powerful woman." But the powerful walk was interesting. Two feedback back to back in 2 different days about the powerful essence that he showed up in walking. You're right. If the world responds a whole different way.
Right. And to walk naturally, so confidently, without any aggression, without any force, just being fully present, fully embodied. I mean, so you see why I think this can change the world, because you asked the first question, why walking? This is why it's so fundamental. When I say it's the quintessential human activity, and we figured a way to help people get more out of it. Yeah, there's nothing I would rather do than write this book and now share it with the world.
Absolutely. Well, here it is, the world walking well, a new approach for comfort, vitality, and inspiration in every step, by Michael Gelb and Bruce Furtman. Michael, anything we haven't shared that you really want people to know?
Gosh, we could go on and on, but I would say if I would leave people with one more little tip that will help them right now, and that is every day practice standing on one leg. Practice standing on one leg, work your way up to 1 minute on each side, then try it with your eyes closed. Because here's just another little technical tip about walking. 40% of the time when you're walking, you're balancing on one leg. And part of what happens, part of why gait often declines as people get older, is they lose the ability to balance on one leg. But if you start actually practicing it and cultivating it every day, then you'll walk well as the years go by. So that's just one little thought that could also be helpful for people.
Thank you. That's awesome. I'll start doing that from today. How can people find you?
Thank you. michaelgelb.com, Gelb. michaelgelb.com is the best place to find me. And if people want to see some of the videos and the photographs that complement the Walking Well book, they can go to our special website, walkingwell.com, and get all sorts of resources to help them walk. So either michaelgelb.com, walkingwell.com, those are the two best places to go.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Oh, what a pleasure. Thank you.
And for all of you who are out there, create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. And remember, walk well. Until next week. Bye-bye. Are you a psychotherapist looking to enhance your practice? The Awareness Integration Therapy developed by Dr. Foojan Zeine is a comprehensive guide to the principle and techniques of this powerful therapeutic approach. Join the growing community who have elevated their practice and expanded their skills by embracing awareness integration therapy and witnessing its life-changing impact. Order your copy on Amazon now.